in 2004, we released 6 albums in one day. April 2004, we released Henry Butler, a John Cleary, a Theresa Andersson, a Los Hombres Calientes DVD, soundtrack for a TV movie called Infidelity, which incorporated all of our artists. Almost all of our artists were either in the film or we added them to the soundtrack. A Lifetime TV movie, and I'm missing one album, one of those 6. So we released 6 in one day in April 2004. 2005, we released 3 in time for Jazz Fest. Kermit Ruffin's Throwback with the Rebirth Brass Band, an album by Irvin, and a third that I'm not remembering right this second. And then Katrina.
Yeah.
And this house that you're looking at in this background has got 5 feet of water. My office space on Canal Street has 1.5 feet of water.
Wow.
I had 6 full-time employees by that time, 6 full-time. Everybody goes their own ways. The artists are all separated. Some are in Houston, some are in Atlanta. Jeez, I don't know. We never stopped. Again.
Well, it intensified. It just intensified.
Yeah, well, the interest in, I never stopped. It was like, I packed up, we have a distributor that distributes our music throughout the U.S. I have other distributors that were distributing our music worldwide. They had CDs on hand. We had like I said, I had a 3,000 square foot office space on Canal Street, 6 full-time employees, a good amount of inventory in there. Most of the stuff that was on the lower shelves got wiped out, but
sure.
We had other shelves. We were able to get in, salvage a lot of that. Not so much salvage, I mean, we didn't have to salvage it. They got in and took it off the shelves and moved it, kept it safe. So I had some inventory to sell. But I lost my staff. They all went their separate ways.
Yeah.
My brother, who had been my operations director, had also reduced his hours in the months preceding that. He was only working for us for about 20 hours a week. Mm-hmm. He and the guys at the Blue Nile had developed a pizza place above the Blue Nile. Oh. And he was devoting a lot of his efforts to that. So when Katrina came, it was like, I don't have the ability to keep anybody.
Yeah.
And I had to let everybody go. And I was back to running the company the way I had in the very beginning.
Yeah.
Except that I was fortunate. I had met my wife, my current wife, Kara, who was in my life all of 2005. And we met on New Year's Eve, 2004-05, at the House of Blues. I went out selling John Cleary merchandise and CDs in the parish at the House of Blues. She went out that night with a girlfriend, and they came up to me. Both of them had met me in the past. And from that night on, I was never apart from, well, there were 4 nights, I think, before we went to the Sugar Bowl together. But we've been together since. Fortunately, her uptown house did not flood, and I had a place to go back to. And I made 29 trips back and forth between Austin and New Orleans. I also was fortunate that my parents, who also lost their home, moved to Austin. And the reason we moved to Austin was because I had gone to school there.
Right.
And I thought it was a good spot to go and take my family. But I was also in this new relationship with my wife and wanted to be able to go back and forth. And thinking about the cities to the east, the bridge had been blown out.
Yeah.
Coming back from the east. So I thought about Austin. So like I said, I kept things going. Our website was still processing orders. Like I think maybe there was a few days where I wasn't able to get to a post office. But whether I was in Memphis on it, evacuating, St. Louis where I went to a wedding the week after Katrina, or in Austin when I got there after that wedding weekend, and then enrolled my kids in school that Monday. I mean, never stopped moving, never stopped the label.
Yeah.
And, but did have to figure out what to do next. But my wife, Kara, was, allowed me to go back and forth. It allowed me to have a place to stay when I got here. You know,
Yeah.
not a lot of people had that. And then I had my parents who had, because their house was also destroyed, and they were, I was thankful that they allowed us to live with them. I was able to like leave my 3 little kids as a single father with them for 2-3 days at a time, come to New Orleans,
Wow.
work on the label, work on my house.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things. I was fortunate. I snuck into New Orleans and was able to gut the house sooner than most people. I didn't, so the mold didn't go up into the second floor. It
Right.
was confined to the first. Navigating the process for getting it back into shape so that at the end of that school year, my kids were able to come back to New Orleans and start a school year the next year.
Amazing.
In this house.
Yeah.
It was still gutted.
Yeah.
And I had moved everything from the office into the gutted first floor of this home.
All your salvaged inventory was here. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah. And I also brought on a staff person
Yeah.
that I don't remember when I brought him on exactly, but I brought on a staff person who has since gone on to do great things. Nick Thomas operates Republic. He owns Republic Club. And he helped quite a bit. And then, eventually he came on. But I didn't fix this first floor of this house until the Road Home program had resolved. And I had received a big chunk of money from the Road Home program to give me the assistance to build back the first floor.
Yeah.
But for one school year, we lived upstairs and had a pool house in the back with a microwave and a TV, a family room that we used as a pool. We used, and early on I did replace the air conditioning system, so the house was able to acclimate, and again the mold didn't expand.
Right.
But I was fortunate. When I brought my family back here, that a year later, you step out into the front yard and there was 3 houses that had people living in them. That's it.